Kicking off the day with EU action, and we could not ask for a better game to start off the proceedings. Jason Lake's juggernauts of complexity are rising to take on another mixed roster in OG to decide who will make it straight to the semis and who will have one last chance of redemption against Force. Of course, I couldn't break this one down alone. Joining me, the lovely Potter and Maui Snake. And Alex, this is going to be a huge matchup. Two huge names going together.
Yeah, in terms of brand recognition, both of these teams are pretty storied organizations at this point. OG on the side of Counter-Strike haven't really been involved as long, but they have won a couple of world championships, the International in Dota. This roster is shaping up quite nicely in that respect. Complexity, on the other hand, has been around for actually decades now, it feels like, and they have really put an imprint on the game. They have changed the landscape as well. Jason Lake, a player that is frequently, or a owner that is frequently highlighted for the strides he took in order to make this team a reality.
Yeah, we're talking about OGs, and Complexity, they're the real OGs out here. They have been around in the Counter-Strike landscape for so long, and I'm sure they'll have plenty of fans in the chat, and we want to hear from you. Make sure you put in hashtag Cole if you think Complexity are going to take the win, and hashtag OG if you're rooting for the boys from OG. But I think to start the proceedings off, we want to start talking about Complexity, who we saw face Force in the groups earlier on the weekend, and it was a series that actually went the whole 9 yards, even featuring an overtime on map 2. Potter, can you kind of break down what happened in this game?
Yeah, this game was actually super close, and even that overpass float coming out from Complexity in that Force series was a huge surprise because Force picked it thinking they could punish Complexity, but actually for the first time Complexity actually won out that map. So it was actually a huge curveball that Cole threw. And now they find themselves here, coming out on top of that series, now facing off versus an OG. And as Maui alluded to, both of these teams, they are juggernauts. Complexity already coming out and tweeting out about it, but both these squads have been kind of handpicked and built to be contenders, to be the best of the best in the world, and they're slowly starting to reach those heights. As you can see here, Complexity, their map pool, 7 maps that these guys are all willing to play. So I think coming into this series, it's going to be really interesting to see what team is going to be willing to float Vertigo, what team is going to be willing to float Overpass. There's some spicy drama before we even go live.
There is indeed, and we're kind of alluding to it there, you know, the rise in form, or rather the slower rise in form that we've seen each of these teams have. Sure, they've managed to make it to a very, very good spot in the world rankings. But Alex, for you, what has it been like kind of watching Complexity, on Complexity's side, kind of grow as a team together?
Yeah, Complexity's been a team that's been kind of interesting. I was working on a lot of the Home Sweet Home Cups where Complexity racked up a lot of prize money, actually. And something that always struck me about this team is that when they're focused, they are crazy deadly as a team. Their teamwork and the peak that they can have, their ceiling, it's so high, but it also sometimes there's a very low floor for them too. Something we noted in the Home Sweet Home Cup is that every week started with a BO1 opener for all of the teams, and Complexity lost every single time. For 4 weeks straight, they lost every single BO1 opener, and I just hope today they don't come out in that same kind of fashion, that they come out flat. I feel like that was because they were frequently underestimating their opponents. Many of that was actually tier 3 European competition. OG is a team that they're gonna be pushed. They're going to really test their mettle, and it already feels like Potter said, that these teams are kind of looking to combat each other with their map picks. It feels like they're both planning some kind of strategy against the opposing team based off of their veto. So I don't think that Complexity is going to have those kinds of hardships. I think they have both been preparing for this particular BO3 for probably the entire player break.
Well, speaking of which, we're going to have an opportunity to check in and see exactly what Complexity have been planning as we've got Obo.
The last game against Forze was a pretty close match the whole time, but we never really lost our confidence, and we stayed in it. We kept our energy high, and we trusted in each other, and it ended up taking the match 2-1. So in that match, that was one of our first times playing Overpass in recent times. So I'm sure we can learn a lot rewatching that match and just using that experience. This win definitely means a lot for our confidence. I think we know that we still have it, obviously, and we're just going to build on each matchup and just try to keep winning as much as we can. We really want to win every tournament we play, and this is the first tournament since the player break, so we're extremely hungry to prove that we have what it takes to win tournaments consistently. So yeah, it would mean a lot to us to just build and build and keep winning. The Juggernaut is looking very strong, so you better watch out.
The Juggernaut is looking strong indeed. You've got to be scared if you're OG going up against these guys. And I want to move on to talk about the OG side for a little bit. And I'm interested to hear what you kind of made of their opening game against Spirit, Christine, because I feel like there was a lot to unpick from that.
There was a lot to unpick from that. And I guess what I can walk away from that series is I was actually thoroughly impressed. I thought that the synergy between Valdi and Alexi B, it was top notch. It seemed like these two were sticking together across the defenses on most of the maps that I watched. They allowed Mantu to have so much space. I mean, the rifle work coming out of Alexi B was impressive. He was holding down the fort towards that long A, and the movements, the mobility, it was NBK, even on the opposite side of the map towards B, pushing those B tunnels at the right time, at the right place. So it seems like the communication and the synergy between all of these OG players are getting better and better, because making those proactive decisions and movements takes a lot of communication. So I was impressed by OG.
Yeah, and I love that you kind of touched upon Mantu there, because obviously just before the player break, we saw that he was suffering from an injury, right? What did you kind of make of him coming into that game? Do you feel like he's kind of getting back into the swing of things?
Yeah, He definitely is. He definitely is. I mean, as I mentioned, he had Alexi B and Valdi just holding down the fort towards that long A. And I keep bringing up Dust 2 because Mantu had so many incredible rounds on this Dust 2 Spirit. They were fighting neck and neck. It actually even looked like Spirit was postured to close out this Dust 2. But then Mantu showed up towards that A ramp, holding down the fort. And it seemed like he had the necessary help to allow him to get into those optimal positions. Look, Mantu didn't hit all of the shots that he needed to hit, but because he had the different layers on his team, it allowed him to get back into the game, find the looks that he needed, and he made it work.
Well, a player that we haven't actually touched upon yet is Issa, but you know what? He doesn't leave anything silent, so we got to chat with him ahead of this game to see what he's thinking.
Hello guys, this is Issa from Team OG. I'm currently playing from Jordan. It's our first official after our players break, and I would say we played really good. I just feel that the more we're gonna play right now, more officials, more practice, we're gonna play better in the future, because we are just basically warming up, right? Yeah, the game against Spirit was kind of expected. We played against them before and we were prepared for them this time. First games are always the hardest to start with, so it's good that you start with a win and with a good teamwork, and hopefully it's gonna help us for the next game. We also played against Complexity before and we fixed our all mistakes, so we are prepared to win them, I would say, like we did against Spirit, and just get first in the group.
As you said, guys, it seems like both of these teams knew this matchup was going to be coming in, but we need to find out what maps we are going to be playing on. Alex, I know you said that this is going to be a really interesting veto to see how it plays out.
Yeah, it really looks like these teams have overhauled their picks and bans, and since the player break, OG will still be banning the Vertigo here, Complexity banning out the Train. That seems like not the most interesting development, actually. I thought this might have changed out. I thought one of these teams may have banned Vertigo, or Overpass, but okay, we'll see what the opening picks are, and it's going to be Nuke and Mirage. Complexity picking Mirage is nice because OG, they thought they could pick that against Spirit recently, and they were not able to topple them. So Complexity now has the blueprint from that Spirit game. They saw how the Russians were able to dismantle the OG lineup, and so they're going to try to take a piece of them in the same way.
This is almost looking like a mirror matchup between their series at Blast just a couple months ago. That third map being Overpass is I guess the curveball, because it was trained the last time around. But Nuke and Mirage, this is a complete rematch. We saw Complexity losing out that Mirage. OG took that one, and that was actually Complexity's pick last time around as well. So this is interesting. That Overpass Inferno storyline that I thought might happen, it didn't happen.
So all that leaves us to do really is lock in our predictions. Potter, I'm starting with you. Who are you siding with?
I'm going with Complexity here. I think Config, he's just so damn good. I want to see him going as crazy as he was in that overpass match the other day. I'm going Complexity.
Maui, are you echoing those thoughts?
I'm going to take the other side of things. I think that OG have had a bit more practice in officials lately. They made a deep run at CS Summit, and they really convinced me of the skill on that roster.
Well, a split desk here. I'm going to be going with Complexity as well. I'm very interested to see how these maps are going to be playing out. Of course, I feel like it is going to be going to the 3 maps, but I also want to check in with see what Twitch chats are saying down in there for their predictions. A 50-50 split across the board. That's pretty spicy. Well, hopefully somebody is going to be happy at the end of this matchup. When we've got our teams, we've got our maps, and now all there is left to do is jump inside the game. It's a beautiful day here at DreamHack Open Summer, and the sun is about to shine brighter for one of these teams. Complexity are taking on OG in our first best of 3 series. It's shaping up to be a big one, and it's all kicking off after this.
It's another day here at DreamHack Open Summer, and we've got ourselves an incredible matchup to get our hands on. And my name's Dinko. I'm going to be joined by Hawker, and getting into this one, it's Complexity taking on OG. Now, Complexity have had a good string of results coming into the player break. Coming out of it, though, both of these teams looking pretty solid, so I'm excited to see which one will be top in the group.
Yeah, they both kind of had a weird opening series where they lost their map pick and won their opponent's map pick. But you know what? The main thing is that they got here. I think this should be a banger, Dinko. We've been saying it already. These are 2 top teams in the world. These are 2 teams that kind of have to be compared just because of the way they were formed. They were formed at similar times. They're both mixed squads. I think this will be a really exciting one all round.
Yeah, it's very exciting to get into this one because, like you said, I think they share a couple of similarities in the fact that they're a mixed team from all over the world. They've got players from every region. And while coming into this matchup, both of them are very talented, but there's always been question marks around where the performance is going to peak, where is it going to be. And Complexity, I think online a while ago were looking pretty rough, but now they're starting to find their form. They've played enough matches. I think it really helps that they were playing in those home sweet home tournaments. They've started to find their form online. So Complexity are definitely going to be a scary team on an online environment from this point onwards. And I think I'm going to have to favor them. I think Complexity taking on OG, I don't have enough faith in OG just yet. I think they have looked a little inconsistent at times, but they're starting to get better. But I still have to favor the Juggernauts. I think Complexity will be taking this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think for me, the difference between these 2 teams, certainly last time they played, was just that Complexity had a few more of those big moments, those big plays. I think they do have a few more players who are capable of just winning rounds alone, like BlameF, like Config. As you said, Obo was unreal yesterday. I want to see more from him, and we're going to get to see more from him starting on Nuke. This should be a good one to get into.
Nuke certainly going to be fun. Both of these teams, very capable teams on this map. We'll see which way it goes. A little flashback to the old Nuke when the Raptors used to be there, Alex. But we get right into things. There's Complexity on the CT side, OG on the T side. A good bit of utility being picked up for Alexi B and MBK. And the rest of the squad on Kevlar.
I'm always going to point out for OG in the pistol rounds, Mantu is the 4th highest rated pistol round player in 2020. Let's see if we can keep that up here on this T side. It's Rush kicking things off. 2 kills from Rush alongside Config. This ramp room is being shut down. Look at how many CTs are there. Alexi B is alone in the world, and he's not a happy man right now.
Not at all. Alexi B left alone. 1 versus 5. An unwinnable scenario, and that's exactly the start Rush would have been hoping for. But BlameF, he's been spotted. Alexi B just dives down in behind him, gets rid of him, and at least that's 1 kill added to the tally. But we shouldn't be seeing too much more here from Alexi B. Still got a full minute though. It's all about the damage that Alexi B can inflict. In the chaos, Rush delivered. They've lost track of him. They don't know exactly where Alexi B is going to be, and that's Rush getting picked out of the sky. Now 3 players to find. A full minute left. There's Alexi B still with 100 HP. Trying to take a couple more of these fights and shuts down Obo. Finally, he's gotten rid of by Poison. But he did make that very uncomfortable for Complexity. They lose 3 players when they stood in the 1 versus 5. But nonetheless, they do get it done. Rush just holding off this ramp offense, and they shut it down pretty easily up until LexiB's attempted clutch.
Yeah, a couple of nice shots from Alexi to even give himself some damage, give himself a little bit of a chance, but obviously was never going to have too much of a chance of winning the round. Those extra kills allow him to buy a Deegs, though. That's given him the extra money to be able to afford at least one pistol on the OG side, but everyone else is stuck on Glocks here, so there shouldn't be much in terms of success in this round for OG. You can already see the Glocks rattling off some shots at range. Poison's also struggling with the scout. Eventually lands a tag, and there we go. MBK taken out of the action. Poison just looking for a field day here. Second headshot lands. Good work from him.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. BlueMF getting the lineup of 2 players on the MP9. Money being built up. Poison through the wall shuts down Issa, and it's 2-0 for Complexity.
And this is where we get to see the first gun round. And it was alluded to on the desk that these two teams played pretty recently, back in June. And in that game on Nuke, OG found a lot of success with some of their secret plays down to B and some rounds where they went for the fast A plays. So I want to see what they're going to go for right from the start here. I want to see if they're going to really try and stamp down that authority, see if they can go for that yard play. That's looking somewhat likely right now as well. They've got a couple of smokes down. LexiB already leading the charge. And in this one, with Poison only having a scout, it might not be as easy for him to deny this outside aggression.
It is Poison, though, Alex. He is one of the best players on the scout in the world. So, he needs to do anything with it, or if there was a player you would want to give any responsibility to in terms of holding that scout, it would be him. BlueMF down in secret stairs has an opportunity to peek over the top. There's currently 4 players positioned towards yard. BlueMF is going to think better of re-peeking. He tosses it in. There's so much damage being done to OG, but they still find the opening kill. Config back in mini gets 1. Onto LexiB now pressured up the lineup. Nearly gets 4 kills in that situation. He walks away with 3. And it's a 1-man advantage in play for Complexity. MBK and Mantu have taken a lot of damage on board. 61 health for MBK, 51 for Mantu. 45 seconds still on that timer. Where are they going to go with this one? Mantu has been spotted in the garage. Can't really do too much now, so he's relying on MBK to make the plays. Mantu just sitting back in garage, holding down this position. They need to figure out what they're going to do. There's only 28 seconds left in play for them to find a final move. And currently Rush just hiding in the bomb site itself towards the hut. The SMG's in play for the most part on Complexity, but if they hold these close positions, the low HP players as well, they should be around for Complexity. Rush has the strong, solid position in towards hut, and there's not enough time to waste here. They have to go for the plant immediately as they get towards the side. Noble runs over the top, the first and the second on the MP9, and that's going to be Complexity with a 3rd round on the board.
Solid work from Obo to close it out there. He's always going to be that ramp player, but he gets the rotate timing right to be able to just clean up those 2 kills with the MP9. That's going to help Complexity's money as well. They get to upgrade some of their weapons, full rifles saved over, and I think we're already seeing the mind games between these teams come into play between the 2 in-game leaders. Look at how heavy this stack was at yard for the CTs. BlueMF was down secret. I love that Config was there to help from main alongside Poison as well. They just have 3 different angles to fight yard. They seem to be aware that OG like to go for those yard plays early in the game, and Complexity have plenty of players there to counter it. So a couple of good reads at the start of this game from Complexity. They got the stack right on the pistol round. They got a pretty good read on that first gun round as well, and that means OG are back down to another half buck.
A lot of utility purchased up into this half fight though. LexiB with a double flash smoke and an HE grenade. The rest of the team with a couple of smokes across the board as well. It's Mantu and Valde on top of the LexiB with smoke grenades. So 4 in total. Many flashbangs and 1 HE as well. So is there a plan here for OG? I don't think they're a team that will come into a round and just toss it all away. There's so many minds within this team that will have ideas. That's one of the strengths of this OG roster. And what Config? Looking over the top of the smokes. Going to catch LexiB. Trying to play for info. Good opening kill. Config repositioned behind the door just in front of the vent area. And with 47 seconds left in play, OG have lost that first player. They haven't been able to get any map control. Now the pressure comes down in towards ramp. Obo going to be tested. He's got Poison to back him up as well. And this is just going to be too difficult to deal with for OG. It's especially with just the pistols. You cannot take down these rifles and the ult positioned in towards hell. So good round from Complexity. It should be in the bag, but it is Valde left alone. He used to have an historic clutch in the 1 versus 5 on this exact map. We'll see if he can do it again. 18 seconds though to find 4 players. It's just not realistic. He will catch out Rush. It's all about the damage he can do to the CT economy at this point. He's got 1, and there we go. BlameF swings on by. 2 kills for Valde in the round, but nonetheless, it's Complexity to pick up a 4th, and we head into round number 5 with OG getting the buy back in.
Now, those nades never really became a factor in that round for OG, in all honesty. You pointed out at the start of the round, they had so many nades, but they never really got to use them. Trying to group up for that ramp play, they kind of just get shut down by Obo to begin with, and then Poison was already in position. So Complexity, so far, have had some really good reads on this CT side. They always seem to be stacked in the right spot. They always seem to be having players in the right positions. Now let's see if that's going to continue into the gun rounds. OG currently all stacked into lobby. We could see some quick A aggression here.
I'd like to see a quicker play from OG. I want to see something different out of them. They're grouping up in towards this A bomb site. Valde and Alexa B currently sitting outside of the door. They've stacked so many players towards this inner bomb site. They almost have to commit. And they go on in with a Molotov clearing out the old vent. 2 players trying to enter through the hut, but it's disjointed. It's an easy kill for Config. He's going to go back for more. He probably should have got 2 there, but it is working out in the end for the T side. They trade efficiently onto the bomb site. And now Obo, he's pushed through the ramp. He's in behind, but Alexa B, he's ready for it. He peeks down and Obo gone. It's all on BlameF, the in-game leader, with a lot on his shoulders into this round. Low HP on the last 2 remaining players for OG. Bomb not yet planted, so plenty of time still for BlameF. He's got 100 HP, full utility, an M4 to boot, and a kit. So this isn't a bad scenario for BlameF. It's certainly a winnable clutch. And you can see OG very tentative in their approach, giving BlameF a lot of respect. They know how low they are in HP, and they know how important this round is to them. BlameF's going to play around the back of the smoke in mini, and that's going to keep him at bay for the meantime. The nade's going to go through as well, and this is buying so much time for OG. Issa's been able to reposition and a crossbar established. BlameF gets the right read, trying to burn Issa out with a Molotov, and it's going to work. And now it's down versus 1, up against Alexi B, who's 46 HP. BlameF, the time is ticking now. He realizes he has to run, and there it is. BlameF, he's going to pull it off, and it's Complexity with a 5th round. The 1 versus 2 became so close for OG, but it's Complexity that walk away with the win.
Oh, yeah, Alexi B at the end there thought he just wanted to take the fight because he realized BlameF wouldn't know where he was. He was hoping BlameF wouldn't expect him to be behind the silo because of where the bomb was planted. And you see the amount of work the Finn did at the start of this round. He got the 3 kills in the first place to put them in that position. But BlameF mollies the first man out, gets that kill, and then he gets the right read. Alexi B spotted on the right-hand side. And again, everything going right for Complexity at the start of this one. A 5-0 lead, but another gun round coming in for OG.
They get the rifles out again, but look, it's BlameF. He's close, and it doesn't matter. Issa still getting rid of him. A lot of damage being inflicted upon Issa, though. It doesn't matter, because OG, they hold the advantage. They're going to send players down in towards this lower bomb site via the secret stairs. But Obo, he's already rotated over. He's not going to be playing aggressive. He's got Config to take the initial damage. That Molotov's going to remove Obo for the round. The next couple of seconds, so the pressure is now on to Config. He catches out Issa first on his own. The smoke separates the players. It severs the attack, and that's going to work out perfectly because now Obo can help Config. And it's over. Complexity, just a brilliant hold, good rotation, and OG completely disjointed.
And this was an issue that Complexity did kind of have the last time these teams played, was that they weren't having those fast rotates down to B. But as you said here, Obo is so quick down to the B site alongside Config. They both get into a great crossfire, and Config gets rewarded with another kill at the end there. This is just fantastic work from Complexity at the start of this game. And one of the differences I was pointing out in the pre-game was that I just think in general, Complexity do have a bit more firepower across the board. And that is definitely showing up on the scoreboard right now. All of them doing work. Config is up there at the top, but there's not much between them. And so far, so good for Complexity. They're going to be delighted with this.
Yeah, I think for Complexity, it's all raw firepower, right? They have so much available to them, and there's the lineup for Rush. He's the player we usually look at as the weakest link when it comes to firepower, and even he is stepping up. A huge triple in the pistol, 2 kills in this one. Again, he is up against the weaker buy, of course. Still effective killing. And now Config assists. It's Mantu and Alexi B trying to follow up, trying to find anything for OG. The goal is, of course, the bomb plant to secure the extra cash. But look at this. Obo, he's already here. He's got the good rotation. The doors are open as well. This isn't going to be easy for OG to cross on by. They need the instant kill, and that's exactly what they're going to get. Alexi B has been playing well in this tournament so far, and he continues to do so here on Nuke.
Oh, Mantu was the man with the AK, but it's already taken out of his hands. Blame F gets him in the back. And Alexi B has got a sneaky play in mind. Up to the A site, he will get a free bomb plant. Currently only with the Tech 9 in hand, though. Is there a gun for him? I don't know, and he's not going to be able to get it in time. He's not even looking the right way here. Back turn, Blame F gets him. At least a bomb plant for OG to get a bit of extra money, but at this point, they're going to need to start to get rounds on the board. You can see on the left side of your screen, this is OG's map pick, and sure, they're on the T side of Nuke, but you still got to start getting some rounds on the board soon. Otherwise, this is just going to get out of hand.
Yeah, I mean that was the goal coming into this, right? For OG was the bomb plant with those Tech 9s. But like you said, we're 7 rounds deep. They haven't won a single round just yet. They have come close. There's been a lot of clutches that probably should have went their way. But OG realized the pressure is on. Their first tactical timeout used up. 8 kills for Alexi B. Second on the team is 2. That's joint between Issa, Mantu, and Valde. And MBK yet to post a single kill. Flip reverse for Complexity, though. Not a large disparity at all between top and bottom. 9 kills for Config, the lowest player. Poison on 5. Very good performance from Complexity across the board.
Now, this is where we might see OG go into something more standard. They've got the AWP out for Mantu as well, so if they want to go for some yard play, that's certainly an option for them. There's obviously the AWP on the CT side as well, though, which they'll have to deal with. Poison's got that in his hands, and Mantu looking for a gap in this smoke, but Complexity across 2 players. They're getting aggressive, and they're getting rewarded. Almost a double. The nade might do it. East is out of the round. Poison with a fantastic start to the proceedings.
Oh my.
And Config gets one through the smoke as well. Complexity are just swinging for the fences right now.
What a horrible start for OG. There's nothing they could have done there. The aggression from Poison, nearly getting the collateral. He finishes off the second player with the HE grenade. And Config, he's running through fire, and he still takes a headshot through the smoke. Everything that could have went wrong for OG did. And now it's just Valde. A 1 versus 4, and there's still 1 minute and 10 left on the clock. How have we come to this point? Valde gets another kill. Stepping up for OG potentially here in the clutch. He's got 3 more to find. Does have the time to do so, but Complexity are not giving him anything. They're just setting up ready for him to come into their trap. And the money is starting to build for Complexity. Across the 3 players. Rush and Obo, yes, suffering, but they're going to win another round, keeping 3 players alive. The money is well and truly building here for Complexity. The rounds as well, 8 and 0. Not a single thing OG have been able to do just yet. And this is the start from Poison. The nade finishing off the job as well. He knew there was a possibility. He hit that second shot. And there it is for Complexity. 8 rounds, and OG, they're limping into this one. They've got Khalils in play. They've got AK-47s, but the utility, it's not quite there.
Yeah, and that switch up is something Complexity love to do after their opponents take timeouts as well. They love to all of a sudden throw in some aggression to not even allow OG to go for whatever game plan they had off the back of the timeout. And it works out so well for Poison. Obviously getting the lineup, and well, now Rush has even got the first pick onto MBK. Not really an angle that MBK wants to be fighting from. That top silo position, you can see the feet of the hut. They're doing a bit of damage. Maybe if that's an AK, he gets the kill, but the Galils certainly are not going to get it over the line. So Complexity hold their man advantage. Not looking good for OG right now.
No, that's enough damage to force Blame F. It scares him off. Falls back, he holds the advantage in play for Complexity. But yeah, this is another horrible start for OG. They've got to somehow find a way into this. And they don't have a whole lot of utility left. They have 2 smoke grenades. That's all they have to use up now. The Molotovs A SWAT in play. They're going to quickly execute it towards the same bomb site. Conflict playing towards the back of the site itself, and Poison up in heaven. He catches out Ista. Another casualty for OG. They're going to drop down the vent, but Rush, he could get in behind them if he moves quite quickly here. He could potentially find himself one. He's slowly going down the vent. He doesn't spot Alexi B. Now coming around Decon, do they expect Rush to be so quick? Getting in behind them. Valde's the bomb carrier, and he is going to go down. They're not going to get the bomb plant, and Mantu too far removed to get involved in the action here. He's got 13 seconds, and Complexity can just hide. It's going to be 9-0. OG suffering.
Mantu trying to frag out at the end there, but Poison holding the angle with the AWP. Easy lockdown. Another round for Complexity, and at least this time OG do kind of get some sort of misdirection, right? They're able to get down the vent, but such low time left. They're losing the fights the entire time. They can't really hold it down. It's not really felt like Complexity have been too tested. There have been a couple of rounds that have come close. There have been a couple of rounds where OG have got onto the bomb sites. But for the most part, Complexity has been clearly the dominant team. And here's that outside aggression again. Poison gets that opening kill. Oh, Conflict just keeps on spraying through this smoke. And Alexi B keeps on taking the brunt of it. I can't even keep up with all these kills, Dinko. They're just coming in so fast.
Well, Valde was outside, Blimf in behind the red box. Molotov's going to force him away. He's burning a little bit here. Shot goes in, Blimf. Conflict taking the damage as well, but the round's done for OG. They've only got 1 HP left, and that's the way they end it. 10-0 for Complexity. Double figures are looking solid.
This was part of the worry as well with going for this Nuke pick. Complexity are a good team on this map. Last time out between these two, this was the third map decider, and Complexity won it. And I think it was a smart veto decision by Complexity to just go for that train ban. That's the one they lost convincingly last time. They now can play Overpass. They've shown that. It's the third map in this series. So I think the train ban was just such a smart decision. It put OG in this spot where they had to pick this Nuke. And now this Nuke is really coming on strong for Complexity. OG can maybe still save this half if they can just grind out these last 4 or 5 rounds. But man, it's still not a good position to be in. Whatever happens here, Complexity are clearly the ones in full control of this game right now.
Well, Smoke Executor's up. Smoke down into Garage for the cross as well. And now OG is sending players down yard. They haven't taken a casualty just yet, and they'll be happy about that. They have been losing those players very quickly. And just as I say, Alex, they lose MBK. Oh, 0 and 11 right now as well. Oh, it just keeps getting worse for him.
That's the risk of those closer yard smokes. You can peek over the top of them. If you try and go into secret, Poison's got that angle available, and he's very quick on the trigger. MBK not with really any chance there to do anything. At least OG have got yard control, but it's taken so much time for them. They've only got 35 seconds left. Almost no nades for them either. Complexity will be the more comfortable team right now. OG have to get a move on here, and they have to rely on just landing some shots.
Poison, good kill. XCB going down. 2-man advantage in play for Complexity. It's going to be the spray away. Config and Ista finding a couple of kills as Rush. Oh, he has an angle. An easy kill onto Ista. Now Mantu, the last remaining player now. 7 seconds in play. They're going to run straight in towards the bomb site. Mantu's got an easy kill. More 3 seconds left. Oboe with the headshot. OG just can't do anything right now. They go for the outside execute. They get the players outside, but they're just hemorrhaging too many players. And again, they're in a scenario where they have got a little bit of money in the reserve, but it's not going to be enough for a good buy. We're looking at Complexity having to take a 12th round before OG can get the rifles out again. It's just a horrible scenario to be in.
Yeah, you can say that again. Might be underselling it, if anything. 11-0. Little gap in this smoke for Oboe to work with. Ramp hasn't been tested too much in these recent rounds, so I like this decision, but Oboe gets the kill and gets away while blind. Good work. Oh, Alexi B, though, hunts him down. That's an AK into his hands, and maybe a chance for OG to get something going now.
Well, spray away. Ista gets a headshot. That's rush gone. Now the bomb planted. It's OG. This is their best chance for a while. Really have a chance to pick up their first round. Valde. Oh, he gets the kill. That's an important kill to find as Config goes down. And now it's BlameF and Poison. Left alone now. Damage on the T side, but it doesn't matter. Valde with the weakest weapon still cutting through them. And Poison goes down. Finally, OG will find themselves their first round. It's 11-1 onto the board.
This is more like it. Alexi B again is the man who has to open up the round for them, but it helps out. Valda's able to clean up with the MAC-10. They get down towards B. And finally, one of their moves at the start of the round gets them in a position where they are forcing Complexity to be on the back foot. They're forcing Complexity to rotate, because so far, it seemed like the CTs were always one step ahead and were always in the right spots. But as soon as Obo goes down, you already know it's going to be difficult for Complexity to rotate down in time. And even though Rush arrives, the trades are good for the team side. And Obo might be tested again here. Spray only onto one man. The flashbang is good. OG again get themselves into ramp room. And maybe they found a bit of a way to get into these rounds to begin with here. Another even trade at ramp and another chance to have access to B.
Oh, well, MBK, that's nice. Just swings on by and takes down BlameF. And, well, a 4 versus 3 with a man advantage. Bomb getting planted here. If they can scrap together a couple more rounds, 11-4 is the best case scenario available to OG. Now Config just sits up in the control room. Doors going down. Swings wide open again as Config is having to flee the scene. They realize this round cannot be won, and OG will be taking themselves a second. Finally, putting two together, just getting one round on the board in the previous. But now they can maybe turn this half round, get 4 on the board. That's the best case scenario. It's still not brilliant. It's the scoreline you can come back from.
Definitely be watching out to see what Complexity do about this ramp position. Now that they've lost it 2 rounds in a row, I think either Obo is going to start to play safer, or they may even just try and rotate players over there sooner. We've seen Poison's AWP play there in the past. Sometimes AWPers just like to go for a round occasionally where they switch things up and they go for that ramp hold. But yeah, some good success from OG. It looks like they have pinpointed one weak spot. Alexi B finally switching things up to find his team a couple of rounds on the board. And credit to Alexi B, he has been trying a lot of different things. He's been trying a lot of different ways to get them into the rounds, but so often they were just losing players so early, they couldn't really seem to set up their plays. So finally, they get something to go their way. A couple of rounds on the board, but they're going to need a couple more, and here is that switch up. Poison this time holding ramp, and actually holding it aggressively, pushing all the way into radio.
Well, MBK, the front man, it's Alexi B that takes the headshot. Rush going down, and the spray was nearly there from Config. And now, while 2-man advantage in play for the T side, as Mantu gets rid of BlameF, it's just Poison, the last remaining player. And OG, 3rd round now. They'd be wondering how they haven't got themselves into these positions previously, Alex. They have been struggling this entire half, but now they're putting 3 together. They've finally figured out how to post rounds on the board.
Yeah, I think something else OG haven't maybe exploited as much as they could have is that door position. Because you see there, Config's playing pretty far back. OG probably could have had players dropping down vents in some of these early round scenarios, but I think they just weren't aware that was a possibility because they haven't really pressured the A site too much recently. But finally this time, they go for the A play. It works out for them. Valde just babysitting the bomb at the end here, making sure they are 100% safe. And Poison actually needs to save this AWP for the last round, because even though Complexity was soaring to 11 rounds to begin with, a couple of players don't have perfect money here, so they've got to make sure they can drop some guns over to everyone. I think Complexity will still be fine, though. Heading into the last round of the half, still a big lead for them, but at least OG are showing us some signs of life.
They get a 4th round. I mean, like I said, you can come back from that if they win the pistol going into the second. Could have been an absolute nightmare scenario where they don't post a single round. That's almost, obviously, confirmed victory for Complexity, but 4 rounds, that's not awful. It's not good. Certainly not good at all, but it's not the worst case scenario right now for OG. Trying to take this fight towards outside. MBK up on top of Silo, dancing with death as he keeps re-peeking into the waiting arms of BlameF. Now the push towards outside comes through. They'll send multiple players this way. Now the players just hiding behind red, trying to find an opportunity here as Poison does get a small one, and now they cross into his crosshair, and it's an easy kill for him as there's no smokes up. It's going to be easy pickings for the rest of the team. Mantu finally fighting back, but it's Oboe able to just help out, take a headshot, fall away into cover. This is not good from OG. They're getting picked apart left, right, and center. And now it's a 2 versus 4 in total for Valde and MBK. And Valde has just pulled it right back into an equilibrium, finding 2 kills on his own. Config has got up behind them, though. This is a good position. MBK seems to be aware, though. But Config, he's got the allocator, he's got the shotgun. And that might just come back to bite him. He can't go over the top. He can't afford to take these fights. It's just not going to go his way. So he's got the Deagle out instead. And MBK, the patience, he knows what's going on. He takes down Config. And this is a huge recovery from OG.
Oh, and they're going through their own smoke through main. Rush might not be ready, but he's looking the right direction. Rush gets that first kill, turns around, turns back. He sees him, and he nearly gets it, but Valde saves his team. Those 3 kills make the difference. OG salvaged 4 rounds at the half. Still a long way to go for them. Let's see if they can continue this comeback in the second half.
OG struggled throughout the entire first half, but they managed to scrap together 4 rounds in a row to claw the half back to 11-4. Took a big clutch in the end, a huge turnaround in the 2 versus 4, but it's Complexity that lead the way. They'll be feeling very comfortable heading into their T side. They've already got 11 rounds, and if they win this pistol round, Alex, they're going to be in a prime position to take the match.
Oh, MBK just spamming through, gets one. Easter might be able to line them up here. Oh, there it is. Eventually gets the 3rd kill. Took his time, and he lined up that last man, and now Blame F has 4 players against him, and Mantu just pushes through the smoke. A bit of confidence shown there by OG at the end to close out the round, and a much-needed pistol goes their way. Issa here, this was scrappy on the site, but he landed the shots he needed to. This last kill, uncomfortable, but they get the job done, and that puts OG in a position where they can start off strong in this second half. Unless Complexity win this force by Dinko. And I said it previously, Complexity is so good in these second rounds, so we've got to watch out for this.
Oh, good shot from Poison, followed up onto MBK. And now the players crossing on by. It's going to be Blimf. In behind the right container, Poison. Oh, he loses his head. Mansu takes him away on the FAMAS. If you're looking for a little bit more damage here, Blimf down to 14, and Config, well, he's taking a lot of damage on board. Oh, gee, this is an important round for them to win. They can't afford to lose the second round force buy. I'll put them right back into the bin. They need to take every single opportunity they can at the start of this half to get themselves back to a more respectable scoreline.
Look at this sneaky play into hell. Issa is ready for it. Rush is able to trade, but he's the last man left. Oh, he thought he had the A site for free, but Alexi B, long range with the MP9, denies him. So no bomb plant for Complexity, no second round force buy this time, even though they come kind of close with some early trades. I like that they snuck into hell as well. You could see that they were trying to get a flank going, trying to work across the map. Not meant to be this time round. So OG remain in a decent position, and this one should be a bit easier for them. Only a couple of upgraded pistols this time out. So finally OG coming back into this one.
Ooh, nice. Well, Alexi B spraying away. It's going to be Poison. Here goes down, and Blimf has taken a good bit of damage on board. Spray away from Mantu. He's doing a little bit now as MBK goes up. Going for the second shot as well as Config goes down. And now it's Russian Oboe left alone in the world at 2 versus 5 in total. Rush is going to walk right into the winning arms of Valde. He'll clean up the last 2 players surely. And there we go. 7 rounds for OG. Now, if they can quickly keep this going, if they can win the next gun round coming up right now, they'll start to quickly forget about their awful first half, where they lost 11 rounds in a row. But now it's been 7 in a row for OG, so they are on a bit of a tear themselves now, Alex.
Yeah, pretty streaky game so far. That's for sure. MP9 in play for Alexi B, a FAMAS for MBK. Something to watch out for here on OG's CT side is that normally their 2 best players play away from that A site. You normally have Mantu at yard with the AWP and then Valda at ramp with the M4 in his hand. So sometimes I feel like their A site can be a bit vulnerable as long as those other guys aren't stepping up. But oftentimes Issa is able to step it up. So we'll see what he can do, currently sitting up on the rafters. As for Complexity, it is the full buy, the full AKs, and some smokes being lined up here. Oboe lining up this second smoke for the backside. Mantu does have that AWP, but he's playing all the way back from heaven, so it's unlikely he's going to get a clear line of sight here. They should be able to get down secret safely.
One player on the lower bomb site. It's MBK chilling down here. Config dives over the top of Min. He's already down close towards heaven. He can start to wrap this. Good bit of map control being taken by Complexity. OG have got to realize what they've lost. Figure out all the possibilities. And Issa, he's gone on a bit of a push himself to try and regain some control for OG. It's worked out in terms of the HUT control, but it comes down to whether or not Rush sees him. It's the worst timing for Rush. He walks into the waiting arms, ruins his own vision, and Issa takes the first kill. Now the spring, the attack into the A-bomb site. Good control for OG. I like the way they react in this round. They lose the control towards outside, so they push in towards lobby. It makes it very difficult for Complexity to take the A-bomb site, and that's just a brilliantly played round from OG.
Yeah, great stuff from OG, being proactive, as you said. They lost that yard control, and Complexity like to run these rounds fairly often, where they try and get the yard control and then start flanking through heaven and hell and causing all sorts of issues for the CTs. So instead of worrying about 2 different angles, you just push into lobby, you take away one of those sides, and then you see those players at door can just fully focus on the mini play into A. They can fully shut it down between them. And And this game is starting to heat up now. Only 3 rounds between these two teams. Complexity having to just pick up pistols in this one. 5 smokes for them. Not a single flash in play. Fully focused on the smokes here on the Complexity side. Maybe hoping that they can get a bomb plant if they put these smokes in the right spots. A couple of smokes already being deployed at Yard. Quite a few of the Complexity players looking to push off the back of them. You can see here Mantu has a bit of vision over the top of the smoke, but he's moved away from that. Complexity still just setting up this Yard play, sneaking their way into Garage, and doesn't look like Mantu spotted them just yet.
Config. Oh, that's not too far off, landing on the mark, and they have a couple of opportunities there. Very difficult shots to hit any of them. Valde and Mantu getting a couple of kills between them, but Poison, he's quick to suffocate the Allbird, getting rid of him with the P250. Now Alexi B holding back in mini. He's got an opportunity, but Issa and Alexi B taking 2 kills. It's just Rush, and he walks to the top of his ladder, and he falls to the bottom dead. It's going to be 11-9 Complexity. They had a flawless start with 11 rounds being picked up in a row, but it's OG who have found 9 on the trot now. And Complexity, they're feeling the pressure, Alex. They've called their first tactical timeout.
Yeah, it looked like Complexity there were just trying to see if they could group up on the ramp player, pushing him from both Hell and from Radio, and they did so kind of successfully. They got that AWP out of the hands of the opponent, but then they were a bit disjointed across the map at that point, that they had to rely on winning some solo fights, which didn't really happen. So the low buy doesn't work out. As you said, though, timeout comes through after the eco. They're going for a buy, and I think at some point we're likely to see Complexity go for one of those fast A plays. They had a lot of success with those fast A plays last time these two teams played. Maybe that won't be happening in this round, though, because Poison's got the AWP, so it might be a slower round. It might be back to that Yard play, which we've seen so far from Complexity. And as for OG, they've just got to keep doing what they're doing, keep on working hard to get back into this one. But here's some faster aggression from Complexity. Smoke's coming up, and oh, Mantu comes so close to the shot through the smoke.
Oh, Valde.
Wow.
Oh, this is perfect. Spots the barrel of Rush, just walks in behind him. Rush had no idea he had just been spotted, and his barrel poking around the corner was his death sentence. An advantage for OG, and they can hold on to it as well with full time basically left in this clock. But Poison, the time is just awful right now for Complexity. Their luck is run dry. It's been 11 rounds in a row where they were just dominating, and suddenly it all just turns off. The supply of luck runs out, Alex.
Yeah, that's rough. From 11-0 to 11-9. Might be 11-10 here as well. Oh, especially with BlameF losing that fight. I thought he had that, but Issa is able to win it out. 45 seconds left for Complexity. They're running the clock down low. Obo coming in from heaven, deploying the flashbang. He's got his teammate behind him as well. Complexity have to make sure they can line up this push between them onto the A site. Flash is coming through. Obo still waiting for that kill, but OG not giving the fights away. Finally, Obo pulls the trigger. CT's playing it pretty safe right now, though, giving up the site itself, and Poison comes in with the first, making a second. Poison snipes him down, slaps him in the face, and gives Complexity a 12th round. Just sniping everyone there. They all line up for Poison on this same angle, and he delivers.
Finally, Complexity. They stop the round streak from OG. Can they turn it around here as well? This is an important round for Complexity to win. They can be happy about picking up the previous, but now the hard work begins. They have to try and recover this economy, and now it's going to be a quick play. A double nade kill from Alexi B, taking down Rush and Obo in one foul swoop. He gets a 3rd kill on the trot as well. And Complexity, they've taken so much damage on the BlameF, and it's over at this. 3 kills on HE grenades in this round for OG, and Poison, he is left alone, shut down. OG with a 10th on the board, and 3 out of the 5 kills come from HE grenades.
Again, I think this goes back to the mind games. Look at how ready Alexi B is to call for his teammates to use all their nades early. Molotovs down, nades down. I was saying earlier, I'm expecting to see one of those fast A plays at some point, because normally Complexity like to run them, and they've had success against OG with those fast A plays previously. So LXCB clearly one step ahead of that, clearly ready for that possibility. Calls for his teammates to put all the nades down. So much nade damage in that round, and now look at what Complexity have to work with in this one. Only the one AK. At least Config's got down quickly, and that is quick indeed. The UMP flying round the corner for the opening frag.
This would be a round the Complexity would be very happy with. It's not going to work too well, though. Here is Mantu suddenly shut it back in favor of OG. BlimmF still alive, lurking around with the AK-47 in the ramp room, though. And Config has got himself to the bottom of the vents. A rifle now available to him as well if he decides to pick it up, but doesn't want to make noise just yet. Clears around the corners first of all, then picks up the M4. Doesn't really work out there in the smoke. Now he's got to try and take the fight against Valde up on top of the site. He's in behind the cylinder. He's looked the wrong way. Valde's got to get the timing. He's got to get this kill. Surely, somehow, Config is able to take him down. And now a 2 versus 2. That opens up the B bomb site and a complete opportunity for Complexity to take this round win. That's an incredible display of skill from Config. He's not done yet up until this point. LXCB barely walking at this point. 10 health points left as BlimmF is hungry for this kill. He's gone into the vent to the left side is LXCB. He's only got 10 HP, but it comes down to whether or not he's spotted, and he is. BlimmF will get the kill. And now just a 1 versus 1 up against Mantu. He sprinted the bomb site, the underhand smoke, and an instantaneous headshot. It's BlimmF just absolutely torn to shreds. Somehow, Mantu landing that shot. It's an 11th round for OG. And Complexity, that almost felt like a round in the bag when it's down to that 1 versus 1. But Mantu steps up for OG.
Those are the rounds that Complexity are capable of winning. They're so good at these rounds. They're so good at bringing them close, at making them competitive. There's Mantu at the end there as well, just before the smoke blooms. He's fast enough on the trigger to get that kill with the AK. And this is anyone's game at this point. It's 12-11. It's a tight scoreline, which you might not have expected considering the first half, but OG have fought hard to get back into this one. You can already see LXCB rotating down secret. Damage done to Config as well, who's making a similar play to the previous round. You've got to assume that OG are ready for it this time, though. They've already spammed it yard. They've already got LXCB down here. And LXCB spots the man dropping down vents. Rush not ready for this position. That's a man advantage, which OG will take all day long.
Well, Mantu gets rid of poison. Another shot coming in from Mantu as well. Oh my god, 3 kills in the AWP. He goes back for the 4th shot and seals it with the Deagle. 4 kills from Mantu. A nice display of skill up against the weaker weapons, but nonetheless, that is beautiful.
Through the window on the first one as well. Sometimes you don't get the kill because of that, but works out beautifully for him. Works out exactly as he wanted it to. No nades from Complexity there either, because they were just coming back up secret. They thought they'd be fine. They thought they'd be safe. They realized they were getting countered by LXCB, who'd already rotated down. So they wanted to see if they could just quickly go back up for some yard control and hope that the CTs had rotated away. But it was just LXCB putting all the pressure on them down there. So they didn't realize Mantu was still in that position and still ready to just snipe away and land shot after shot. 12-12 now. Complexity have really slowed down here. Poison's had a bit of impact here on this T side, but again, just look at this buy from Complexity. They've invested heavily into this round. They've got loads of nades. The weaponry really isn't there, though. So it's another round where Complexity would love to at least get the bomb plant. And OG might be about to gain the lead, Dinko, for the first time in this game.
Yeah, that would be quite something. Oh, chance here for MBK. The grenade is going to go around the corner into the red boxes. Now where are they going to go with this one? Config just diving down off the top of Mini, now charged into the open with a Deagle. Body shot lining up. An AK-47 now picked up for Config. He is aware that there's a couple of players around this corner, and Mantu just dives off the top of heaven, shuts down Config, and pulls it back into a 4 versus 4. Still just over a minute in play. For Complexity trying to work their way into this one. And that's a nice shot from Poison.
Again, these are the rounds where Complexity's raw firepower always makes them dangerous. They've turned it into a 3v3. They've turned it into a scrappy round. Obo's even got a gun into his hands. And oh, quick snap up from Obo. Another kill goes the way of Complexity. And now Issa and Mantu have got to be the heroes for their team to keep them in this one. They're currently sticking together on this A side of the map. Can Complexity figure out that B is clear, though? I don't think they have the information right now, and they only have 30 seconds left on the clock, so they may feel pressured into just making up their minds right now. Mantu is waiting patiently. This should be a kill every time. No, he looks away. Oh, the timing is terrible. He doesn't realize Obo's fast. He doesn't realize Obo's on the right side, and Issa's got 2 more to find. The lineup almost there. He does damage to both, but Complexity keep it strong. And just as it looks like OG are going to take the lead for the first time, Complexity say no.
So Complexity, a much needed round win for them, and they step it up with the round win when they least expected it, and they have to try and turn this into consistent success, and that's exactly what looks to be happening right now. 2 kills being picked up, Complexity cleaning up this time. They will find consecutive success and win the 1 round in the second half, and they drop the ball immediately after. This time they change that. It's just Mantu left alone into the 1 versus 5. And Complexity has slowed it right down. It's going to be 1 kill for Mantu, but he shouldn't get much further. Second player lying wit on the ladder. Complexity slowed right down, ready for Mantu's aggression. And it's 14 on the board for Complexity. If y'all just tuning in, this was 11-0 up for Complexity in the first half. Big comeback from OG, putting themselves in a very comfortable position, but not done yet. They've just lost control of the economy into the most important stages of this game, Alex. If Complexity win this one, which is entirely likely, it should be happening. It's going to be map point here on Nuke.
Yeah, Complexity finally adapt to some of that aggression that OG had been throwing at them in the earlier rounds. They're finally able to hold lobby early. OG not winning a single fight, and you can see why that was a risky call to make for OG. As soon as it doesn't work for them, 5 USPs into this round, as you said, into such an important round of this game. I mean, if OG win this, then I don't even know what I'll say at that point. It shouldn't happen for them. BlameF's already spotted the first man. Not really a favorable fight for the USP, who's already backing away. Again, just rattling off the shots. Finally, Alexi B taking a bit of damage. Config currently sneaking in through main as well, looking to investigate this A bomb site. And as it stands, there's not much of a defense here. Config gets that first kill, and I think that should realistically put this round to bed. They were trying to shoot through the wall.
It is ambitious. It is ambitious. Maybe the combined efforts, Alex. If we shoot enough bullets, maybe together all 3 of our bullets will eventually
shoot all 3 at the same time, maybe.
Yeah. There are some cool wall bangs you can do from the top site into the lower bomb site, obviously vice versa.
I don't know of many cool USP wall bangs, though.
No, I haven't really ever come across those. BlameF getting rid of Mantu and Valde. Issa gets 1 on the USP, but he shouldn't be saving anything here. Poison just outside, lurking around. Needs to keep this. He does the 360 and still finds the headshot onto Alexi B. It's map point for Complexity. It took a little bit of a labored time for them to get into this point. 11 rounds in a row. Keep harping on about it, but such a big performance for Complexity. OG managed to make this look respectable, and it's not done yet. They can still pull it back to overtime. It has to be flawless in regulation, though. They need these last 3 rounds in a row, and they've got a buy round coming into this.
A decent buy for OG. They've got the weapons they would want, but no kit for them. Some nades missing as well. And, ooh, Mantu playing up on top of that blue container is able to catch Config out early. Again, Config's aggression has generally worked pretty well for him so far in this game. But this time round, Mantu is able to shut him down. Alexi B just waiting in main, currently stuck behind a smoke. MBK's also been putting down some covering fire, but BlameF is the man on the lurk, trying to see what he can make happen. He's in this advanced position as the in-game leader to try and see if there is a weak spot that he can make the most of. Maybe he can just get one kill that causes distraction and allows his teammates to find a free bomb site. But right now, OG are not giving him any fights. They're playing it super safe. And with a minute left on the clock, BlameF about to take this fight. MBK almost caught. Damage goes both ways, but BlameF gets that kill he was looking for. Unfortunately, though, Alexi B is able to trade. Now Complexity go for the ramp play where they get the kill. 3v3 and access to the B site.
40 seconds left. Valde just holding on. There's a couple of players coming his way. Two to the right side. One down below. That's Obo with a bomb. And Valde gets the first. He can't quite get the second. So the dream's still alive for Complexity to try and close it here. Poison has been a beast. 25 and 13. AWP still in his hands with 100 HP as well. He has to be the playmaker. Obo is low and he's stuck in the ramp. He's going to go down. That's the worst position for him. And well, there we go. Alexi B with a headshot. OG win the retake. And I think Complexity could have played that one a little better. I'm going to be honest. It seemed a little bit off there in the post plant. But OG will be taking the 13th round and they will stay alive. The Complexity's money is looking so good. They can buy for the rest of this game pretty much.
Yeah, it looked like Complexity were very much focused on getting that bomb down and not getting into post-plant positions. And that's always a tough call to make. When you're in that 2v2, you really want to defend your bomb planter, right? You really want to make sure that he's 100% safe. But then if he gets the bomb down and you're not in the best spots to begin with, unfortunately, it means that they can't win the round. But still a gun round for both teams. Heading into round 29, we weren't sure we were going to get this far into this game, but we are going the distance. Mantu holding with the AWP might have the chance to pull the trigger early into this one, but the rest of Complexity have a few players focused on lobby as well. Early nades coming in, and Mantu with a nice shot.
Yeah, that's fantastic stuff from Mantu. Alexi B also beastly so far in this game. He's continuing his good form in this tournament. Mantu has repositioned, scoped in towards the radio room. Poison with the AK-47, starting to wrap his way around heaven. Rifle setup for Complexity coming through here. We'll see if it works out to take them over the line. Poison's position is huge. Oh, but Alexi B is so quick on the trigger. He was watching from range. And he will find the headshot. Now Obo's turn to try and strike. He takes down MBK. He knows where Alexi B was. He thinks he could have fallen down towards the vent, but Alexi B is still in the same position he once was. And now he walks forward, shutting down the bomb plant. BlameF now into the 1 versus 1. He doesn't know that Mantu's dropped, and that's going to be the play that wins the round for OG. Mantu diving into the bomb site. Quick decision making. And OG 1 round away from overtime. And take a look at their economy once we get out of this replay. I think they're going to get enough, obviously, for the buy, but there is going to be a couple of weaknesses. And something that Complexity have had in the buy for a while is the cash. And you can see for OG, it's going to be the 2 MP9s of FAMAS. I mean, it's not the best of buys. So Complexity, this is their best chance to try and take it over the line.
Great hold in that last round from Alexi B as well, when he had the AK at his disposal. But as you said, a couple of MP9s in play this time might make life much more difficult for OG. They've shown a willingness to go for some aggressive plays in the past. They could go for something similar here with the SMGs, but at the same time, it would be a really big risk to take heading into the last round of regulation. So both teams just sitting back within their own territory at the start of this round. Smoke being prepared by Rush. These yard smokes have generally worked out pretty well for Complexity, although Mantu was able to land that shot in the last round onto Config. Closer smokes to be able to get down Secret. I think BlameF will still be fine. You can see Mantu not with the clear line of sight. So BlameF gets into Secret, and again, it looks like he'll be away from the rest of the squad. Oftentimes, he likes to make these lurk plays happen for the team. Let's see what the end goal is here for Complexity, because with 48 seconds left, they've used almost all their nades now.
Oh, that's nice from Poison. The big flick up to Mantu. Getting rid of him. Now 4 versus 4. 35 seconds. Again, OG, once they lose that outside control, they're very good at taking this lobby area. But Rush, he's ready. He's ready for this, and he takes down Issa. It's a man advantage back in play for Complexity. And 25 seconds, they've got to go. The bomb in the back as they head in towards this bomb site. Alexi B tucked in the corner. He should be finding Rush. The MP9 rattling the bullets into Rush's chest. And now it's Alexi B with the AK. They know they have to deal with him. It doesn't matter, though. You can know he's there, but he's still going to shut you down. And you've got 8 seconds to get onto the site. Alexi B has been a beast. And the bomb finally going down. It's still the advantage for OG. And Alexi B finding another kill. 3 being picked up, and it's on Poison to deliver death onto 3. And he's got a second. Oh my god, Poison with a huge play. And it's going to be Complexity taking away Nuke 16 to 14. What a way to close it from Poison. Lightning fast, explosive performance across the entire map. And I'm looking forward to the next one. Poison, if he can keep that up, we've got a very exciting Complexity heading on to map number 2.
Oh, you can see OG at the end there. The comms must have just been saying, just peek at the same time, and we have this, but it doesn't happen. MBK can't get that final kill. That's such a shame as well, because Alexi B played that round so patiently. He played that round so well up until that point, but Poison steps up, landing every shot he had to. I think he just hit the flow state there. I think he just got dialed into the game, and he just won his team the map.
Well, an incredible match for map number 1. That's exactly what we expected from Complexity versus OG. Maybe not in the same fashion as we did expect, but it's time for a short break. We'll be right back with the death.
Close but no cigar. A heartbreaking loss for OG on their own map pick of Nuke leaves them going into map number 2 on the back foot. Complexity a 1-up going into Mirage, but Christine, you could be forgiven for thinking that this game would be closed out a lot earlier, because that first half from Complexity, that was pretty impressive.
It was so impressive. I mean, an 11-0 start, a head start so early on in the match. It was round after round, Config just controlling all of that door area, getting the spam kills to the smoke, Poison dancing around outside, getting forward aggressive picks, then falling back perfectly. So it did seem like Complexity had all the pieces falling into place perfectly. But on the OG side of things, that first 11 rounds, I do feel like they tunnel visioned a little bit on their game plan. You could see that they wanted to find those outside picks. They were lurking around, and eventually in those last 4 rounds, they decided, no, we're going to 5-man contact ramp, 5-man contact inner. They were able to rack up those 4 rounds on the board, and thankfully so, because that's what actually enabled them to make this sort of a comeback happen.
Yeah, I kind of want to touch on that briefly with you, Maui. We were talking about it a little bit, and you were saying Complexity, they had so much control on the CT side. There was hardly any room for OG to move. Did you kind of see any adaptations coming up from the OG side, or was it, just Complexity doing so well in those first 11 rounds?
Yeah, I like that Christine brought up the fact that they were just so focused outside, both teams actually, to start the game, and it was just Complexity getting the better of them. A couple of aggressive Blame F pushes, aggressive play from Poison. I mean, it's what you expect from the flashy Opper on the Complexity side, and it's really great to see that OG showed some life. We wanted a close game here. It became a 16-14. Because I think that OG, they just weren't playing to maybe their total strengths at the beginning of the game. And I think part of that goes into how Complexity probably game planned for this. They weren't going too aggressive anywhere across the board. You could see that a lot of those defaults started with OG just kind of taking their time, hoping something would happen, hoping they're gifted a pick. And Poison, he exerted just the right amount of aggression along with Blame F. Neither of them overstepping in those first 11 rounds. It felt like every single time they were finding those opening frags and not just peeking into Montu, not giving something OG that they shouldn't have. You could see at the end there, though, that NBK, he kind of lost sight of maybe what the game plan was on round 11 to cap off Complexity's run to start the game. He just kind of walked into Hut, looked for an individual fight, and Rush just took him out in the legs. And that's a fight you're usually not looking for in your default. And it felt like that kind of persisted for the rest of the game, NBK ending up with only 6 kills.
Yeah, I love that you touched upon Poison there. I feel like you can't even really begin to talk about this map without mentioning him. Posa, that 1v3 to seal the map victory for them, that was phenomenal stuff from him. But that wasn't the only thing he showed throughout the map.
No, it wasn't. He showcased top tier Counter-Strike, and this is kind of what I wanted to see coming out of Poison. We've seen glimpses of it, but he absolutely took over this game. That 1v3 you're talking about, Feria, he had 2 of those. And look at all of these outside picks. He's finding these picks, but as Maui and I mentioned, OG are kind of giving him these picks. The cross smokes, they're not there. So you could see that OG's game plan, they wanted to take on Poison, but Poison was winning out these duels every single time.
He really was indeed. I love that that highlight was brought up, Maui. It was when we were literally talking about, you know, OG have got this game plan coming in, and then no, Poison literally peeks from A main, kills 3 of them. That was it. But we're obviously going to be going to Mirage. This is going to be the second map. It's going to be Complexity's pick coming into this. Potter, I love that we touched on the last time that these two played each other. It was at Blast. This time, it was actually OG taking the win on Mirage. So what do you think they're going to be doing coming into this?
You know, I keep thinking back of both of these squads. When we think back of Complexity, they've been on the grind. We keep mentioning those home cups. We keep mentioning that maybe Complexity's opposition was a little bit low tiered. But what that enabled Cole to do is find the winning formula, even when they're losing. So their T side of things, I think this Mirage, they're going to be able to showcase exactly that. That grind is going to be able to pay off. And for OG's side of things, even though their game plan, it didn't come out to fruition, especially in those first 11 rounds on Nuke, this Mirage, it should look a lot different. I think they're going to have a lot better start.
Well, hopefully we're going to see another close game coming our way. It's Mirage, and it's coming up after this.